Well, might as well get started. I don't want to waste anybody's time. We have scheduled a full hour. The presentation itself probably, I don't know, I'm guessing is probably anywhere between 20 to 30 minutes. And then we can leave it open for questions or discussion or pretty much open forum at that point. So I am just going to go ahead and share my screen and get started. Let's see. All right. Now this is an engineer attempting to use technology. We aren't always the best at it. So can I get possibly a thumbs up or something if people are able to see the presentation and full screen and everything? I'm guessing you can still see my beautiful face, but as long as y'all can see the presentation, we are good to go. Perfect. And then that first screen that you have there, obviously, there is a QR code. So if you want to take a photo of that real quick, that's going to have our contact information. It'll have our office number, email, website. I think it also has our LinkedIn and social contacts and all that stuff. So feel free to take a photo of that or put that up. It'll upload to your contacts, and then you could save us under your contacts pretty quick and easy. I'll give you guys a quick second to do that. And then I am going to get my notes up real quick. Real quick, Miranda, can you are you able to add people as they jump in? Okay,
yes, cool. I'll do that.
Sounds good. I just want to make sure that I'm not denying anybody as I'm talking and not paying attention to who's coming in. So anyways, yeah, once again, for the people on there, if you want to take a photo of the QR code real quick, and we can always send these slides at the end too. So if anybody's interested in the slides, more than happy to share this presentation as well. I'm one of those people that is not afraid to share anything and everything about what we do. Transparency is a huge part of who I am. I do it all the time when I'm under a house, because I go in the places where most people aren't, and being, have integrity and doing the right thing is super important to us. So jumping in on it, that is not a house that I have been in, but it would be pretty cool if I was. Just want to give a quick story about myself and what got me into this business originally. I moved to Nashville 8 years ago, and when I moved here, I had a house inspected. There's already structural issues, nothing crazy, but there's some structural and water issues that I knew about. But being an engineer, I wasn't too worried about it, and doing this type of work, I wasn't too worried about. So move into this house, and one of the first things I do is I go out to one of these construction companies. I'm not going to name any names, but I'll just call them BSS is what I'll refer to them as. They came out, they evaluated it, come to find out that the guy doing the evaluation wasn't an engineer, wasn't even a person who has had extensive experience with foundation or drainage work as a contractor. He was a bricklayer by trade. He just became a salesperson for this company. And he tried to sell me on all these columns and piers and this and that for a couple cracks in my basement wall where water was coming in from time to time. And it wasn't a structural issue in my world. There was a drainage thing that needed to be addressed. He did not address the drainage whatsoever. And he did not give me something that really was going to add any value. It was going to be expensive, but it wasn't going to add value. And I realized very quickly out here that there's a lot of contractors that are good salesmen, and they're not really giving clients what they need. Or if they are, it's not a permanent solution. because if I fixed that wall, there would have been issues down the line if I hadn't repaired the drainage. So that's immediately I knew what I needed to do while I was here. There was a huge problem within the system of this when it comes to contractors and realtors and things like that. And for the last 8 years, that's what I've been doing. And it's been a great journey so far. One of the things that we pride ourselves on, and anytime I go into a house, I always tell myself this: if this was my mother's house, what would I do for her? And to me, that's the beginning and the end of everything that I do. I want to treat every client, every house like it was my mother's house. And that's just one of our core values is integrity. And so every time I go into a house, I'm evaluating it. Does my mom need or want the Cadillac? Usually not. Sometimes she wants a Cadillac, but at the same time, a Chevy is cost effective, and it works well. And so this is just another little point that I like to point out with people is that, we are really driven by our integrity and doing things the right way, and also explaining things in a way that people can understand. Just so you know, I'm not blowing smoke. This is just a quick little bio of me. I've got a bachelor's and a master's in structural engineering. I went to UC Berkeley. Yes, I'm born and raised Californian, but I've been out long enough, and I am good not living in California anymore. I love Tennessee, and it is home for me. I've been a licensed professional engineer since 2008. Currently, I am licensed in about 6 or 7 states. And as we expand, there's going to be more states. So I can do design work, inspection work in a lot of different places. I'm also a licensed contractor here in Tennessee. I've built houses, I've rehabbed houses, I've run construction crews. So not only am I a structural engineer, but also I come at it from a contractor side too. We're not rebuilding the Taj Mahal here. And so I want to do it right, do it per code, but I also don't want it to cost an arm and a leg. And yeah, combined experience with engineering, inspections, and design is pretty much 20 years at this point. And I've been also in construction for about 15 years. Now, what we are, so we are not general home inspectors. We're not like your general practitioner, but when you go see your general practitioner, if you have heart issues or lung issues or eye issues, they'll have you see a specialist. So a lot of times in a real estate transaction, your general home inspector will come out, they'll say there's cracking, water intrusion, maybe damage to some of the framing or foundation, or he just doesn't know what he's looking at, and it's something completely random. And he'll specify somebody like us, a specialist, to come out. So think of us kind of like cardiologists. And, the foundation, the drainage, the framing, that's really the heart of the house, and that's what we're getting into. We do inspections, we do engineering design, and we oversee your projects as well. And so not only are we there on the front end with the inspection to find out what's going on, we can also do the design to remedy the situation. And then out here, permits are not required in any of the jurisdictions for drainage work, structural work. It's different in different parts of the country. But that being said, nobody's inspecting any of this work that the contractors are doing. And so many times I go through a house that has been worked on over the years, and I go in for the real estate transaction years down the line, and I have to give the unfortunate news at times that all the work that was done isn't really addressing the main issue, or it wasn't done properly. And so when I do my inspections, my designs, we do also offer construction oversight so that we are evaluating things, signing off, putting my stamp of approval on it, photos, everything. So we make ourselves a little bit different than most structural engineers around here. A lot of them will do the inspections, some will do design, but nobody else oversees projects like we do. So we're pretty unique in that way. The meat and potatoes of why we're here is about residential structural inspections. And what I want to do for the remainder pretty much of this presentation is kind of make you guys the expert, make you guys informed in such a way that when you walk through a house, you might not know what all is going on, everything that interplays with drainage or the structure. And frankly, that's not your job and you don't have to. However, having basic knowledge of what to look for and seeing those things Now you can get someone like us out there ahead of time, even potentially even before the general home inspection, because they're going to find this stuff anyways. They don't know what to do. They're just going to refer someone like me. And most of the time we get thrown into a real estate transaction with a day or two left, because the inspector has to go out there, the appraiser has to go out there, and sometimes the appraiser notes cracking. That happens pretty frequently. So for you to be able to preemptively identify these things and say, hey, we're going to need to get someone out here, whether you're the listing agent or you're the buyer's agent, it doesn't matter. So things like cracks in the foundation, brick, interior finishes, sloping in floors, roof sagging, moisture smells in the house, crawl space, basement, even something as minor sometimes as it seems as floor cupping for hardwoods. And then actually if you see water intrusion in the crawl space or the basement. So that essentially answers this question. How do you know if you need a structural engineer? And so we are going to make you the expert. And I like to call this structural engineering 101. So exterior warning signs. These are very easy to see. You just need to walk around the property while you're doing your normal walk anyways. Look at the foundation. If you have brick, you can see cracks in the brick. It's very easy to see cracks in the brick. If you have siding or something like that, hardy board, it's a lot more difficult to see if there's been any movement. But thankfully around here, there's a lot of brick homes. But the foundation is always going to show you signs of cracking. I have a stone foundation in the photo, but it could be CMU block, it could be concrete, it could be a brick foundation too if it's an older home. And so looking just around the house, if the front porch, very common that it pulls away from the house. Now, this might not be a significant structural issue, but it tells you that drainage for that property could be a concern, because if the porch is settling and moving, chances are the foundation is as well, usually originated from drainage. You can look at site retaining walls, especially for slope lots, and retaining walls a lot of times aren't engineered, aren't permitted. In some jurisdictions now they're required to be engineered and permitted, but for the longest time they weren't. And so they could be sagging, they could be bulging, kind of like a belly bulge or a rotation. You could see cracks in it too, similar to the foundation cracks. And then another thing, step back, look at the roof line and see if there's maybe a bow in the roof line. That is a big indication of the framing of the roof itself. And it could also be settlement, but those are quick, easy things that you can look at while you're just walking around the house with your buyer, with the homeowner, if you're the listing agent. And it would be a very simple, easy thing that you can identify immediately. Interior warning signs, pretty similar to the exterior in a lot of ways. Cracking in drywall usually happens around doors and windows. Openings in a structure are usually the weak points, and that's where things are going to move first. It's always the weakest point that's going to move first and crack first. So you'll see cracking in the corner of doors and windows, whether it's drywall or old plaster. Also, the trim around doors and windows will start to pull apart. Doors and windows themselves might start sticking. Sometimes that could be just thermal expansion, but also at times it is a sign of foundation settlement, which usually is originated from water intrusion. So all of these things work hand in hand: water, foundation, settlement, cracking, movement. And you can really feel sloping of floors. I know a lot of realtors joke they bring a marble with them, but you're not here to diagnose everything. You're here just to spot things ahead of time so that you can let your sellers or your buyers know, like, hey, we need to get this checked out right away. You want to keep the deal moving. You want to stay within the time constraints that you're given, and pushing things out, we know, never is a good thing in real estate, extending the deadlines and all of that. So cracking in tile is also a great thing to see as well. You could also see gaps in the floorboards. So just things looking odd, pulling apart, those are all signs of settlement. And then if you have moisture or drainage issues, an easy one to tell is the smell. And a lot of times you can't smell it in the house. If you can, there's quite a bit of water stuff going on. But these houses that have basements, you go in the basement, or even just open the crawl space door, take a quick peek in. Musty smells. If you're looking in the basement or the crawl space, you can see water intrusion pretty easily. One thing I had mentioned earlier about the cupping or warping of hardwood floors, this doesn't really work for carpet or tile, but with hardwoods, the cupping, I was in a house actually yesterday and her floors were cupping pretty badly. And right away, even before going down into the crawl space, I knew there was going to be a water issue. There was cracks in the brick as well on the foundation. And so once you start recognizing these things, it's pretty easy to diagnose them. And it's very consistent. People think this is a very complicated thing, but once you start seeing the red flags, so to speak, and the signs and understand what they are, it's a pretty simple thing to diagnose. People tend to overcomplicate these issues, but I'm here to tell you that these simple things will save deals. They will save you from having a bad buy or a bad sell or anything like that. And so these are usually the simple things that I look at. And once you notice those, you can call us, get us on the phone, and get us out there. We get around usually within a couple days, so we could even be there usually before your general home inspector's out there to get in front of these issues, because like I said, it's going to come up at some point. And so who do we work with? Well, I had mentioned integrity several times. I've mentioned clear communication. We like to work with people that have similar values to us, that want things black and white. I can't stand gray area. If there's multiple ways of fixing something, I'm going to give you multiple options. I like to tell people there's the Cadillac, the Chevy, and the Hyundai. And my wife has given me the thumbs down because she drives a Hyundai. So I need to figure out a different car to use for the low end repair. But most of the time the Chevy's going to do the right thing. And what we do with our recommendations, we're not here to sell a product and a subscription model where we have to come in every year. And unfortunately, these contractors sell you products these days that will fix the problem for a short time, and then you have to come back in within a year and readjust the piers or do more work. And it absolutely blows my mind. When I was a contractor doing this type of work, we never did any of that. I want to solve the problem right then and there, so that whoever's buying the house or the people selling the house can have peace of mind that this is over, this is done, and moving forward, they can actually think about everything else in life other than their foundation, their drainage, the structural portions of their home. And they can just concentrate on, frankly, things that are much more important than that. And so with that, I think there is a realtor around town. There's a billboard or something. I think it says, like, before you sell, get the intel. And here at Solid Base, we like to say, before you close the deal, Solid Base structural engineers will reveal what's real. And so we're telling you as it is, and you can decide, and your clients can decide what they want to do at that point. It's really up to you to now step in and be that person for your clients, and really now have facts that you can lay in front of you. And we'll source contractors, get you bids, and like I said, even oversee the work and put our eyes on it. And that kind of oversight, that kind of service, you do not get from any other structural people in this area. Most engineers want to get in, do the work, and get out, and they don't want to be bothered. The customer service is something that usually they don't excel in, right? We're engineers. We have way too much education and not enough people interaction, but here we're different. And I've been blessed to work with people and been mentored myself, and now I get to mentor the people that work with me on really treating the client, like I said, like it's your mother, like it's your relative, like it's your best friend. And so I appreciate you guys listening. For everybody that's been on this call, I have a second QR code. So if you highlight that QR code, it's going to take you directly to our website, and there's you can schedule an appointment from our website. And at the bottom there is a discount code. And if you type in Realtor 30, you're going to get $100 off of your next booking within the next 30 days. I say 30 days. That would put us somewhere mid to late September. We're just going to go to the end of September. So I don't know how many days are in September, 30, 31, what have you. But until the end of September, if you book through our website or call us and use the discount code Realtor30, you get $100 off. And I appreciate everybody listening. Once again, thank you for your time. And yeah,